Hi students, welcome to lesson number 41 on caste and ethnic conflict. Since the origin of caste system, caste conflict has been an inevitable phenomena in all spheres of life. The obvious reason is that it is a root cause of social inequality. In the social hierarchy, castes are graded not based on one's accomplishment but on one's birth. This resulted in ranks such as higher caste, lower caste and untouchable caste. In the course of time, the social distance between higher and lower caste widened and led to social discrimination. The caste people in the apex of social hierarchy started exercising privileges, power and supremacy over the lower caste and untouchable caste people. The latter were subjected to all sort of discrimination, exploitation and humiliation. At one point of time in the history of Indian society, this discrimination became sharp, thereby making untouchability a serious problem. As a result, these caste conflicts all over India led to violence and bloodshed. Similarly, ethnic conflicts are also a very important issue that can affect a whole country or the state. Ethnic conflicts within a state belong to identity conflicts that are a type of internal conflicts. Sometimes the term ethnic conflict is used to describe a large range of internal conflicts. Ethnic groups usually have collectivity or psychological communities who share a combination of historical experience and valued cultural traits, beliefs, culture and religion, language, ways of life, a common homeland. Many ethnic conflicts result in a significant loss of life, a serious denial of basic human rights and considerable material destruction, some escalating into inter-ethnic or internal war. The desire for succession or independence from an existing state, the demand for greater power within a state or recognition and protection of minority interests within a society are three general issues of ethnic conflicts. Now, the objectives of this lesson. The purpose of this lesson is to acquaint the students with the concept of caste and ethnic conflict, and in the process, the students will be able to understand the nature and levels of caste conflicts and the various dimensions, theories and solutions for the problem of ethnic conflict. Now, we will understand what is caste conflict. The term caste conflict generally refers to a fight, struggle, collision or clash of opponent caste groups. 𝗧𝗏𝗏 contends that social conflict is a struggle over values and claims to secure status, power and resources in which the aims of the opponents are to neutralize, injure or eliminate their rivals. However, from a sociological point of view, John Reck says that conflict is not a random disorder, rather it refers to a meaningful action in pursuit of goals. Psychological concepts such as hostility, aggressive impulses and antagonist sentiments do have a bearing on conflict. In one way or another, conflict involves a relationship in which these aggressive impulses and antagonistic sentiments find expression. Caste as a social institution in India is marked by multiple fault lines and inequalities which lead to a lot of friction. Rebellion from the depressed caste and the tendency of upper caste to separate lower ones leads to conflicts. Causes of caste conflicts lie in ritual status, untouchability, group hegemony, identity politics, discrimination, feudal mindset, economic exploitation, etc. Caste conflicts emerged only after Reformation movement started. Earlier, the conflicts were on ritual grounds only, on issues like temple entry and usage of common village resources. Early conflicts started during the British period itself when reform movement started. After independence, when Constitution declared untouchability as an offence and provided equal status to all Indians and even provided positive discrimination for depressed classes, the higher caste exhibited indignation. In a competitive economy, caste ideology was used as a tool of exploitation of the lower caste. According to 𝗓𝗏𝗃 Mukherjee, caste rights were observed more frequently in those areas where the caste-wise social deprivations are manifestly correlated within the class-wise economic deprivation, such as in case of Bihar, Tamil Nadu and Andhra. When the members of the upward mobile scheduled caste reacted to the access of upper caste, they are made targets of fury of upper caste members, as well as recently witnessed in Michpur village of Hisar district of Haryana in 2010, when the upper caste members set the houses of Dalits on fire. Caste conflicts are found at two levels. First, at the manifest level. In form of incidences of violence, it is more acute in rural areas where caste identities are still very strong and ideas of equality have still not got into the minds of upper caste members, who fear losing of their privileged position. It is a manifestation of a feudal mind set of rural caste based society, where any effort of the depressed to challenge the supremacy of upper caste is met with violent response. Many caste senas were found by the upper caste members. Apart from violence, untouchability, segregation and mutual hatred are other symptoms of prevailing conflict. Another level is at the latent level. At latent level, conflicts among various caste groups is reflected in behavior of various castes towards each other. This conflict is evident on various occasions like denial to intercaste marriages, struggle for reservation and social intercourse. Discrimination is the worst form of latent conflict. More than 150 types of untouchability have been recorded in Andhra Pradesh. Further, the nature of caste conflict has also changed over the years. While earlier conflicts were seen as a reaction to the ritual notions, today they are more as a result of more secular causes like lack of opportunities, development, access and political participation. Caste system and caste conflicts are effectively used as a tool of economic exploitation and political suppression. According to Arun Sinha, contemporary conflicts are a class war rather than sporadic caste conflicts. They are waged by rich peasant classes which belong to middle class and not from the ritually higher Brahmin caste. Caste conflicts, which are unique to Indian society, leave behind devastation and distress at a large scale. In real sense, not even an iota of benefit accrues to any of the conflicting castes or societies at large. Caste conflicts make the society poorer and trouble-torn. In this regard, the experience of Bihar state is a classic example. In terms of social and economic development, if Bihar today is rated very low, one singular attributing factor to its backwardness is the lack of social harmony. Social upheavals and caste conflicts in Bihar have retarded its economic growth, even though it is not far behind in terms of its resources endowment. The proliferation of caste conflicts will also contribute substantially to the backwardness of people. Every social and economic activity today is seen to be influenced by the caste relations. Anyone not coming under the caste fold is considered to be an alien. The people of any caste would show their enmity in one way or another to their rival caste people. The social fabric is not strengthened by cordial intercaste relations, but it is weakened by caste conflicts. No doubt, frequent caste conflicts across India would result in social disharmony and disorder. Social harmony, especially in rural areas, is the prerequisite for all economic pursuits and the articulation of democratic aspirations. The negation of social harmony makes a negative impact on all economic and political activities. The loser is not one caste or one section, but the Indian society as a whole. The major consequence of caste conflict is a narrow compartmentalization of society in terms of division, and each division is pulling in different directions. The results are obvious: dissipation of human energy, low productivity, stagnation in upgradation, decrease in investment trend, non-utility of community assets to an optimal level, and increase in cost of education, health, hygiene, etc. These are tangible and measurable outcomes. But very important is the intangible outcome in terms of the loss of peace and human happiness, the ultimate end of life itself. People may be restored in a war-torn area, but not in a region prone to the caste conflicts. The reason is that the war comes to an end sooner or later, but the caste conflicts would continue unabated if its causes are not diagnosed and treated carefully. It would spread like an infectious disease. Though peace may be restored temporarily through police intervention or administrative control, the malaise requires not a palliative but a creative remedy. Evidences, however, suggest that constitutional and legal framework coupled with rising awareness and a sound judicial system has helped in bringing down the cases of manifest conflicts to a significant degree. Political participation, rise of media and modernization of Indian society has also gradually blunted the edge of caste and ensuing conflicts. Now, we will understand what is ethnic conflict. The term ethnic is derived from the Greek word ethno, meaning nation. It was originally used to denote primitive tribe or societies that form the nation on the basis of the simplistic forms of government and economy. The term was put into use to overcome the controversies related with race, and ethnicity emerged as a key sociological and political concept only in the early 1970s. Today, race is typically associated with perceived biological features, and ethnicity has cultural, social notions. It is now employed in a broader sense to signify self-consciousness of a group of people united or closely related by shared experience such as language, religious belief, common heritage, caste, race, etc. There is nothing innate about ethnicity, and it is imbibed in an individual through socialization. Ethnicity is not fixed, it is situationally defined. According to 𝗪𝗏, it is a creative response of the group which is marginalized in society. Keeping in view the enormous diversity of India, there is hardly any consensus over the use of the term ethnicity in India. Different scholars have used different frameworks. According to Ponekar, there are 4 major premises where ethnicity in India operates, that is language, religion, region and caste. It may be argued that castes are divided into subcaste, languages into dialects, region into sub-regions and religion into sects, and hence there can be indefinite basis to the ethnic identity in India. But ethnic diversity is often less pronounced at these sub-levels when compared to the larger levels of caste, language, religion and region. Further, ethnic conflicts are often a consequence of organized communal bodies. For the conflict to become a public issue, usually the organized bodies which are backed by political parties have to come to the fore. Now, we will understand the dimensions of ethnic conflict in India. Major dimensions of ethnic conflict in India can be identified as: the first one, it is linguistic identities. Soon after independence, the most powerful manifestation of ethnicity in India was the demand for creation of a state or province on linguistic basis, and as a reaction, there were instances of latent and manifest clashes. The State Reorganization Committee was formed in 1956 and boundaries of the states were redrawn on the linguistic basis. The formation of linguistic states was a manifestation of language-based ethnic identity. The independent India attempted to create a supranational identity in an otherwise segmental ethnic society, expedited tensions in several parts of the country. The government also tried to impose Hindi as a national language to create a national community by joining all the members of the different linguistic ethnic communities. This attempt at unity in diversity had adverse effect on the Indian population. Anti-Indian movement in South lingered on for many years as a reminiscent of the language-based ethnic conflict. Second dimension is on religion identities. Ethnic clashes among various religions, especially between Hindus and Muslims, were witnessed more conspicuously during and after British rule. British policy of divide and rule is one of the causes behind it. Clashes in Godhra in Gujarat in 2002, Muzaffarnagar in Uttar Pradesh in 2013 are examples where religious ethnic conflicts escalated into incidents of widespread violence. Religion-based ethnic conflicts in India are often discussed under the head of communal conflicts. Third dimension is the tribal identity. There are two distinct subcategories in this, as tribals in India can be broadly divided into two groups: those belonging to the Himalayan regions, as in the case of northeast India, and those living in the hinterland. Himalayan tribals are also radically distinct, and they have their own identity issues, which are very diverse. As a result, northeast of India is another prominent theatre of ethnic conflicts in India. Assam was a simmering pot for few decades until recently. Ethnic conflict in Assam were based on multiple issues ranging from son of soil's argument, illegal migration, autonomy and development. All this created an environment in which the insiders were pitted against the outsiders. This issue of cleansing Assam of foreigners held the state to ransom for 6 long years from 1979 till the Assam Accord, which was signed in 1985. Apart from Assam, other northeastern states have also witnessed instances of ethnic conflicts, but sustained efforts of Government of India, local leaders and political class have led to signing of various accords and peace agreements. Fourth dimension is the Aryan and Dravidian identities. This is another purported framework to analyze the ethnic conflicts in India, though it is debunked by many scholars. The Aryan theory was largely a figment of imagination of the colonial rulers and was interpreted differently by different groups, and later a binary was created around this in the form of Aryan and Dravidian dichotomy. Many movements like self-respect movements during colonial period, anti-Hindu movement in South after independence were the result of this latent conflict. However, in the contemporary times, this marker has been diluted to a great extent after the Indian state accommodated most of the legitimate expectations of people from each part of India. Fifth dimension is the transnational conflicts. Sometimes ethnic conflict also cross national boundaries. Tamil ethnic conflicts involving India and Sri Lanka is an example of such transnational conflicts. Demand of Tamilians in India for a fair deal of Tamilians in Sri Lanka gave rise to tension, which they claim was a response to attempt of Sinhalese majority of ethnic cleansing of Tamilians. Now, we will understand the various theories on ethnic conflict. Ethnic conflict and ethnic movements in India and around the world can be explained by many theoretical strands, and some of which are: the first one, the relative deprivation theory. According to this theory, as pointed out by Caste, that many examples show material and economic interests at stake in ethnic politics, and individuals seek an advantage, usually by playing up their ethnicity to secure scarce resources. So, ethnic fault lines are only a facade behind which lies competition, economic or political for scarce resources. Second theory is a resource mobilization theory. According to this theory, development leads to a rise rather than a decline in ethnic mobilization, because it provides resources to ethnic groups in the periphery, increasing their bargaining position and organizational capacity for action. Third theory is the internal colonization theory. According to this theory, relationship between members of the dominant or core community within a state and members of the minority or peripheral communities is characterized by exploitation. Ethnic groups from northeastern India often blame government of pursuing a policy of internal colonization. Fourth theory is a cultural deprivation theory. This theory, on the other hand, argues that one of the significant inducement to ethnicity comes from the feeling of insecurity among ethnic minorities as a result of their fear of getting lost in the sea of majority. Threat of assimilation into majority leads to ethnic movements and conflicts. Intrusion of Bangladesh into Assam and resulting conflict can be seen in this light. Now, we will try to understand the solutions to the problem of ethnic conflicts. Ethnic conflicts are often, but not always, said to arise between groups that are based on unequal relationships, namely the majority groups and the minority groups. There can be other instances of conflicts involving majority and majority or minority and minority. Ethnic cleansing is the worst form of ethnic conflict in which the dominant ethnic group systematically eliminates or ousts the members of minority ethnic groups. Sri Lanka is accused of going on for such an exercise during war with LTTE. Similarly, Hitler went for ethnic cleansing of Jews during the Second World War. Genocide of minority 𝗧𝗏 community by majority Hutu community in Rwanda in 1990s is one of the most recent examples of mass ethnic conflicts. Back home in India, conflict between native Assamese and Bangladeshi migrants is such an example. Ethnic conflict may exist at a more subtle and latent level when open conflicts are kept in check. Latent ethnic conflicts appear in form of discriminations, prejudices and feeling of mistrust or antagonism. According to James Manner in his write-up, Ethnicity and Politics in India, historically an accommodative approach was followed by leaders like Nehru to check ethnic conflict in India. Under this strategy, political bargaining was used to share the resources and power with the people from different groups and subgroups. Later, political leaders tried to be more manipulative, and as a result, only limited success was achieved in curbing ethnic conflict. A coherent and effective response to ethnic conflict has to keep in mind the common as well as the unique factors which account for clashes between groups of people. Some insist that so long as economic inequalities exist, such clashes are bound to persist. Since it is not easy to end economic disparities between people, ethnic conflict will also not be easy to stop. Some others argue that before looking at the long-term solution to these problems, certain immediate steps can be taken. Those who favor this suggest that first steps towards sustenance of communal harmony is to identify the causes that flare up rights. These are rumors, suspicion against other community, building up sectarian feelings amongst people by religious heads, local political party and self-styled leaders. To overcome this, it is important to induce encouragement in people to widen their perspectives, to keep up an open mind and to be tolerant towards others. This can be achieved by encouraging the members of the different communities to have a dialogue with each other. This would help in understanding the other community and also reflect their own limitations and the possibility of overcoming them. People favoring these measures also insist that cross-cultural participation must be more frequent, especially during festivities and ceremonies. The people in the right-prone areas must be made to understand not to give ear to rumors unless it is followed with evidence. Because of the absence of direct communications, politicians, self-styled leaders and miscreants circulate rumors which cannot be verified. This aggravates tensions. The process of sustenance of communal harmony is most essential in spite of it being slow and requiring a lot of patience and toil to reach the grassroots level of society in order to motivate and socialize people. To sum up, conflicts in contemporary India arise against a historical backdrop which has experienced a mixing of cultural codes. These conflicts may be analyzed in terms of various dimensions. There are innumerable interpersonal conflicts in everyday life. Their content varies greatly depending partly on their institutional context like family, workplace, marketplace, etc. They are related to claims over property, status, power and disagreement over role assignment, division of labor or problems of personality adjustment. Violence may sharpen and intensify such conflicts and ultimately terminate the relationship itself. The interpersonal conflict between two individuals is prevalent everywhere. This gives rise to group conflicts. They move from interpersonal to group conflicts involves collective mobilization, and the caste conflict is a fitting example for this sort of conflict. The rise of caste conflict may be due to the imposition of one's will on others, jealousy about the development and progress of opponent groups, and narrowing down of the gap between high and low status of the conflicting caste and the like. Ethnic conflict is not inevitable in a sense that it can be prevented from happening or the spreading of it can be avoided. This lesson also intends to conclude that in any recorded ethnic conflicts, a majority of them, if not all, have similarities on the contributing factors that lead to the clashes. It is true that ethnic conflict is a complex matter to deal with. The problem lies within the myriads of historical aspects of politics, economy, social class and history. From the political point of view, the question or rather the problem of ethnics cannot be separated from the notion of distinguishing between the minorities and the majorities. In terms of economy, unequal portion of the economic cake will instigate or ignite the flame of ethnic conflict. Same goes to the differences in cultures, spoken languages, religions and accepted norms. All these are also contributing factors which would worsen the situation if they are not to be dealt accordingly. There is a need to strive towards unshackling the caste and ethnic barriers by favorable social, political, legal and economic action so that we move towards a more inclusive society devoid of social cleavages based on caste and ethnicity, and which could stop caste and ethnic based conflicts in the society.